It's Monday, April 30th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we have a recap of the Marston's Mills Streetscape Project information meeting, an interview with two English professors who highlight the creative writing and journalism offerings at Cape Cod Community College, and a special interview with our departing Barnstable High School intern. Let's start with some news you can use. From April 30th through May 6th, children, families, entire schools, and communities will rediscover the joys of life beyond the screen. Plan to unplug from digital entertainment and spend all that free time playing, reading, daydreaming, creating, exploring, and connecting with family and friends. Here are 2 tips to get you started, and we'll have a few more each day this week. Tip number 1, start the day screen-free. Create a morning routine that doesn't involve screens. And tip number 2, enjoy screen-free meals. Make meals a time for your family to talk about the day without distraction from TV, smartphones, and other screens. On average, preschool students spend over 4.5 hours a day using screen media. That average can be over 7 hours a day, including multitasking for older children. Excessive screen time has been linked to a number of problems for children, including obesity, poor academic performance, and attention span issues. The goal of the program is to eliminate the use of screens during leisure times and to notice how much they are using them. Go screen-free this week. This week's Marston's Mills residents got a final look at the streetscape plans for the village, and town officials were on hand to go over the plans and construction timelines.
And I thought the meeting tonight was very interesting. I'm thankful that they came. I'm thankful that so many people were able to come. This has been a long working progress with the town, with the people in the village. I'm going to say at least 10, if not 15 years ago, we started in the middle school that's now closed, and we started there, and we had pieces of paper on the wall, and we went around with magic marker and wrote what we wanted to see in the village, what we wanted to have. Now we've got screens and projectors and all that, but I'm telling you, that's how long ago it was. Then we had meetings. We had meetings at the church. We had meetings at the school. Every time we had a meeting, people had ideas. We brought them back to the town. They've redone plans many, many times. I'm going to say in the last 5 years, it's probably been the most active.
Matthew and I would like to welcome you tonight, and we have a great group of folks from the town's DPW and also Planning and Development here to present the plan for the roadway here in the village, and it's time for a presentation and lots of questions if you have them.
The objectives were these: reduce vehicle speed through the village, improve character, or at least add to the character in a positive way, improve safety, particularly at the intersection down here at 149 Main Street River Road, improve roadway infrastructure. Anybody that drove in on 149 tonight can see the shape of the road that it's in. We need to get at that. This is the process to do that. Improve pedestrian connectivity. You will see as we go through this plan, there's been a real effort put into making sure that there's a lot of opportunity for walkways, sidewalks. There's even a boardwalk that takes you over to the Fishway, things of that nature to make it easier to convey around the village center by foot safely. And then address parking issues. We all understand parking is a limited space, and we've tried to address that in some way.
Typically, when we're looking at investment in our capital infrastructure, there's 2 pieces to it. It's how can you improve health and safety, make our roads function better, but it's also that community development piece. You know, how do people interact with the roads and the streets and the village and their community, and how do we make an investment in our infrastructure that'll also be an investment in our community. So planning and development, we like to kind of get out in front, talk to folks about, you know, what the strengths of their places are, what are the opportunities, how can we make things better, and then start to meld that with the infrastructure investment.
The next aspect of it will be, we're going to actually pull out the drawings and lay them out. There'll be an opportunity for you to come up and ask us specific questions about specific pieces of property or specific things of interest. As you see when we go through this presentation, it's a generic, it's general design. You're not going to see the details of lights, for instance, or specific trees in specific areas. And I'll point that out as we go through. It'll give you an overview of what's going to happen, and we can sort of talk through some of the different issues that have been surfaced as we do that. But to really understand what's happening in front of your business or in front of your house, the best way to deal with that is to come up afterwards when the plans are rolled out, talk to the engineers, talk to the landscape architect, and really get into those details. We are in the process of finalizing construction plans, the specifications, and the cost estimate. We are hoping to be able to go out and bid this project within the next couple of months, sort of late spring, early summertime frame. Our plan at this point, short of anything coming up that we can't foresee at this moment, to start construction in the fall of this year. Construction will go through the fall season of this year. Probably have to stop at some point in the wintertime due to weather and other things. And then beginning in the springtime, and the hope is to be done prior to Memorial Day of next year. So next year at this time, hopefully we are wrapping it up.
They're on your route to the roundabout. Don't just drive by, and hopefully this will slow the people down. They can go, they can enjoy, and know what Marston's Mills is, why we live here, why we like it so much.
So the narrowing of the lanes acts to some extent as a speed buffer and to slow people down a little bit and make them want to take their time coming through the village and not just be blasting through to get to 28. So that's kind of part of the thought process there.
I think this project started in Marston's Mills as a safety project, as a way to address the safety issues at the Route 149 intersection. And what it's really evolved into is a conversation about how to bring that village character back and promote things like walkability and investment in the businesses here. So I think Marston's Mills is a historic village center that was originally designed for people to walk around in.
We wanted to make Marston's Mills a place to go, not just a village that you walk, run, drive through.
It's what we're hoping for, is to recreate that village feel here, that experience where you can come with your family for a day and go to the library and go shopping and go out to breakfast.
But it's a work in progress, and I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Interested in becoming a creative writer or a journalist? Cape Cod Community College offers several areas of study, and we learn more from Professors Drohan and Griffin. Do you have hopes of being a writer someday, or perhaps maybe a journalist? Well, there's a great programs over at the Cape Cod Community College. And with me today is Carrie Drohan and Rebecca Griffin, your professors of language and literature at Cape Cod Community College. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Rebecca, we'll start with you. Give us a little bit of your background and how you got to Four Cs.
Well, I attended the University of Massachusetts for 6 years getting my PhD, and I came to Four Cs about 2 years ago. Before I went back to graduate school, I was actually a newspaper reporter for about 4.5 years at the Eagle Tribune based in North Andover, Massachusetts. So I also bring that to teaching at Four Cs.
Excellent. Fantastic. How about you, Carrie?
I have the same journalism background, more or less. Actually started at the Cape Cod Times way back in the 70s. And moved eventually to the Globe, spent 26 years at the Globe. I had retired and started to adjunct at Four Cs and fell in love with the place. So I've been there 2 years full-time teaching journalism and literature.
That's fantastic. One of my favorite subjects in school. And let's talk a little bit about kids going into school or even somebody changing careers. What advice do you give to students? The journalism landscape's a little shifty at this point in time. The sands have kind of washed up and down. So what kind of advice are you giving people in the English language and journalism these days?
If you want to break into a writing field, the most important thing is to just start writing and getting clips. And the journalism landscape has changed in that there are a lot more opportunities to publish online. So there is open access for anybody at any level to get some publishing done, even if it's self-publishing. But I would also say that it's very important to start looking for an internship or working at like the main sheet or the sea change at Four Cs to get you some clips so that you have something to show a potential employer.
Okay.
to learn by doing is,
Yeah.
is really the whole philosophy of the place. And I think the students appreciate that because they see practical happenstances coming from their work, practical results. We run the main sheet like a real newspaper. We have 10 editions per semester. Every student is required to do a certain amount of work, usually a minimum of 10 stories. Photographers, we give them special assignments. Production people, it's a good place to learn design, stuff like InDesign. So we also stress working as a team together too.
Okay, so you have the main sheet, which is the great little newspaper out of 4Cs, and then you also said the Sea Change, so that is a magazine publication.
Yes, this is our student art and literary publication, and you can see that the students are responsible for the writing and the selection of material that goes in this,
Okay.
and poetry, and then the artists too are
Just
students,
beautiful.
faculty, and staff. It's open to.
Okay.
We're also starting to do more outreach to the high schools, so high school students will have an opportunity to submit next time.
Okay. So they're getting some experience on the main sheet. They can submit things to the magazine. What other practical experience and internships does 4Cs offer students? Are there businesses and organizations out there that are taking students from your programs?
There are not as many perhaps as in the changed landscape before, but we have placed one student this summer with the Falmouth Enterprise, previous couple of summers and falls with the Cape Cod Times. A couple of freelance writers who do their own books have also asked, so we're in the process of expanding the internship program. It really is the best practical experience.
Sure. Well, don't forget us.
Oh, yeah?
Because we do a lot of writing here for the newscast
That's
every
right.
day, and we love interns.
Yeah.
So how about mentoring opportunities? Internships are one thing where there's that practical experience, but then the mentorships play a real part of, somebody that's been in the business, that kind of knows the ropes and is just there as a sounding board. Is that something that is provided in their coursework?
I think so.
Yeah, well, we recently visited the Cape Cod Times, and the students got to sit in on a news meeting and ask as many questions as they wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think that was a very good experience for them to see what it would actually look like to be in a news meeting when they go into the field themselves.
I think too they appreciate our experience in the field, and that's not unusual to our department. I know Paul McCormick, who's a dentist selectman, teaches in the culinary arts program, owns a restaurant. The students really appreciate that practical advice that people like that give them. There's a lot of dual career people. Sue Miller, who's just retiring, was a registered nurse for decades before becoming a big-time college administrator.
Right. And that kind of leads us into the next question there is what kinds of backgrounds do you have to qualify to teach creative writing or journalism?
Well, I think it helps to have worked in those fields in the past. I do get a lot of questions from students about maybe I want to go into something related to teaching in the college level or maybe journalism. There's a lot of students who are considering both fields. And I feel like having done both those things and made that transition, I can kind of guide them and help them figure out what the next best steps for them are.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I also think as examples of our educational backgrounds are good because when I went to journalism school a long time ago, Walter Cronkite came to my class at American University, and he said, if you want a job in it, don't major in it. In other words, it's good to have, but get to know something else, history, government, politics, and have something practical. I think Rebecca's PhD in literature, and am I correct on that, literature?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
That is a good example. She, a basis for which to add knowledge, and then your journalistic stuff really soars because you have something to write about.
It's great to have, I think, a background in journalism. That was my undergrad. It helps to prepare you for all kinds of writing because you're always thinking about audience and how to connect with various audiences. So making that transition, I think, from writing for our newspaper to doing something, teaching in college, I think actually it's a pretty smooth transition because you've had all that writing experience. Yeah.
So give us a success story for our viewers out there for your programs.
Let's see, I have several. One, I won't mention his name, but he had an internship. He was a medical illustrator, and he had no experience in journalism. He took journalism 1, got bitten by the photography bug and the writing bug. This was around the time of the presidential campaign. He went on to UMass, then a Globe internship, and he's just one example of it. Mainly is up to the student. The opportunity is there. If they have the drive, then it's going to happen for them, I think. There's another one of our, I won't mention his name either, but works for the Barnstable Patriot, took journalism 1, was interested in sports, and immediately started freelancing as a sports writer. So I think what I would stress is, if you want it, we can help a lot in creating that opportunity.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
A success story
well,
from
just
your
on
department?
not as impressive as
Well,
the one
They're all impressive.
but just on a smaller level, seeing students who didn't think of themselves as having a future in writing or anything creative, just seeing the spark when they start taking charge, taking leadership roles. I've seen that happen with one student in particular who started out taking the class in the Sea Change, which is English 170, and then just caught fire and wanted to start doing journalism, and now has taken on leadership roles at the Main Sheet. And is very well. He's also very self-driven. I think he's taken advantage of a lot of the opportunities.
Well, it sounds like a really great program that's evolved and grown over the years and is changing with the times, which is really kind of difficult for this particular industry, is that it's forever fluid at this point in time. So thank you for coming in and giving us an overview of English and journalism at 4Cs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mackenzie Connor, our Channel 18 intern, and I took some time to discuss the importance of internships in her upcoming college plans.
In a few short weeks, our star intern, Mackenzie Connor, will be leaving us to further her career at college and graduate Barnstable High School. We wanted to take this opportunity to let you get to know her a little bit better. Welcome to the show, Mackenzie.
Thank you for having us.
So,
for having
yes. You are and have been an intern for Channel 18 for how long?
Since September I started here.
Why'd you choose a TV municipal station to come do an internship at?
Well, I have my first 2 days of my internship Monday, Tuesday at the Cape Wildlife Center in Barnstable, and I only did 2 days there, and so I was brought to the studio with a couple other interns to be interviewed for a segment about our internship. And Sarah Beal said that we needed another intern here, so I jumped at the opportunity because I am the editor-in-chief of the newspaper at our school, and I've been on the staff there for a couple years now. And I was hoping to either major or minor in communications in college, and I am now.
Excellent. So you have major decision for college, and that's going to be?
University of Maine, Orono.
Fantastic. You're looking forward to it?
So excited.
So you told us the other day you're going to go a little early this year and participate in a pretty cool program that they have there.
At University of Maine, yes. I'm going a couple weeks early to the school and doing I wouldn't say like field trip, but it's through this program called Mainbound, which is a club there, and they have their own little cabin at Sugarloaf, the ski resort, and we are going to either Baxter State Park or Acadia Park, and we're doing hiking, and we're sleeping on the mountain for a couple nights, and kayaking and rock climbing and stuff like that.
That sounds fantastic.
I'm so excited.
You're going to really love going to school in Maine.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about internships. Tell us something about the Wildlife Center. That seems like a really fun one.
I love it there. I get so excited to go. Well, in the spring, it is baby animal season, so when all the baby animals are being born and coming out of hibernation with their mothers might abandon them, or they might get hurt or like hurt in the weather or something like that. So civilians who find the hurt animals or abandoned animals bring them into the Wildlife Center, and we have a nursery upstairs. So yeah, it's cute. And there's many litters of like squirrels or mice and stuff like that. So we feed them, So every day there's like 4 feedings, and I feed them with the bottle, and we make their formula, and we nurse them bigger and nurse them back to health.
Excellent. So when you're at the Wildlife Center, your duties include feeding them, and what did that bring to you in going to college? Did you have an interest in that? Is that something you want to do?
So at the internship, I liked the idea of vet tech, and I didn't want to be a veterinarian because I didn't want to go to that much med school. And there were these people that came in and out of the internship. They work for Department of Natural Resources. Some of them might be park rangers on Sandy Neck or just work for DNR in general. So I talked to one of the vets there, and he said that in order to do that, it's kind of like law enforcement for natural resources. They can be game wardens, and they drive around in their trucks, and they have calls where there might be an abandoned animal or somebody fishing on property that isn't allowed to be fished on, or someone hunting where it's not allowed, and they go and make sure, like, take care of that situation. And if there's an animal hurt or in trouble, they bring it back to the Wildlife Center, or they work with IFAW with that too, and they come in often. And
Okay.
yeah, he said I can get a ride along with that, and I would need a biology or ecology degree for that too.
So there's an interest
Yes,
right there, right?
exactly.
And then a minor in communications? Fantastic. So tell us, or tell other students, why internships are important.
So I took my internship because I was interested in the subject of like biology and animals and natural resources and things like that. And then I took this one because I was also interested in that and like wanted to have a balance of my interests. And I think it's important because in high school, you have a variety of classes that you have to take, like kind of like your gen eds in college. They're required and you need them. But this is something kind of unconventional, like that you can take before college, and it really helps you find your path and what you want to do in life. And if it's not something you want to do and you still take the internship, it's not a waste of time. It's experience under your belt.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. You had a good time here?
Oh, I had such a good time. I'm so glad I did it.
Fantastic. We really liked having you too,
Thank you.
Mackenzie.
Thank you. I
Thank
love
you.
being here.
Here's a look at our community calendar. Celebrate Art Week with the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, Thursday, May 4th. Come and enjoy an evening of tasting the culinary magic of Hyannis. Attendees will be treated to a tasting of artfully plated appetizer as they stroll between 6 premier Hyannis Main Street restaurants. This fundraiser supports the Mid-Cape Cultural Council with their new initiative, a Discovery Walk. The walk encourages visitors and locals to explore multiple points of interest on Hyannis Main Street and Hyannis Harbor with commissioned artwork from Cape Cod artists. For tickets, www.tasteofart.eventbrite.com. Also, remember that this is the week that HYCC closes for 2 weeks. Here is a look at this week's meeting calendar. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow for a special look at the Welcome Center at Bismore Park and an Art Week update with Arts and Cultural Coordinator Melissa Chartrand, and we talk with DPW Director Dan Santos about the Capital Improvement Program. In the spirit of Art Week, we leave you with a quote by Chuck Palahniuk, American novelist and journalist. The first step to controlling your world is to control your culture, to model and demonstrate the kind of world you demand to live in, to write the books, make the music, shoot the films, paint the art. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.